Bitcoin has taken the financial world by storm, but recently in 2021 that is, it has been having a few fallouts. Are you curious to know why Bitcoin has been going through a huge breakout? If you want to know why, make sure you watch this video to the end. Hello future billionaires, welcome back to Stock Investing 101, the channel where you get stock inspiration, motivation, and knowledge to become the next future billionaire. Today we're going to explain in detail the problems surrounding the 2021 Bitcoin bubble. If you'd like to stay up to date with the best and latest content about stocks and entrepreneurship, then make sure to subscribe to our channel and leave a like on this video. Just as cryptocurrencies surface the world, Bitcoins have been all over the place. Digital or virtualized money is preferred more these days over other means of cash, and it's totally understandable why. Bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies have made so many financial issues easier to deal with. Investing in Bitcoins is also highly advantageous and suggested by a lot of entrepreneurs. When we said Bitcoin's been having fallouts this year, you heard right. As we already know, a lot of investors and entrepreneurs have suggested against the idea of investing in Bitcoin, even though there are a lot of others who encourage others to invest in Bitcoin. Some experienced investors explain Bitcoin's circumstances while comparing it to that of a balloon. According to them, Bitcoin is not a very stable source to invest your money into, and that it was newbie investors who were putting their money into it. They mentioned that these amateur investors could also be the reason why the Bitcoin bubble, or balloon, could end up bursting. The newbie investors could be the very reason for the popping of the Bitcoin balloon because of how much they overly inflate it. Because of the number of young and trainee investors supporting Bitcoin, a lot of this advice was neglected for a very long time. Unfortunately, the time has come for us to admit that in reality, the Bitcoin bubble is eventually gonna pop. But wait, there's more to this Bitcoin than we actually think there is. It's hard to pick sides when it comes to this. Some of us just can't make a firm decision whether to believe this or not. Don't worry, by the end of this video, you will be sure of what you need to do with your money and investments. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Bitcoin and are just here to grab a few points before you make a decision to invest in them or not, allow us to make it simple for you. Just as we mentioned in the beginning, we have made it to a time and age where the internet has taken over the world. Online transactions are so much more common, owing to how easy, quick, and effective they can be. Whenever a transaction's made, our money is sent through several big banks or big money-making companies where we ignorantly put our trust. Sometimes we may not take into consideration the chance of faulty security, inaccurate transactions, and other faults on the system while making online transactions. This is the reason why Bitcoin was introduced to the world in the first place. Bitcoin was meant for all of us to independently make our transactions without having to depend on other companies, without having to question whether they would carry out the process accurately or not. This is what tempted several investors to put their money into buying Bitcoin. The Bitcoin estimates begin to skyrocket up to the roof. This is when the logic behind the popping of the Bitcoin bubble comes to play. Let's begin by shedding some light on some of the disadvantages to Bitcoin that are often ignored. A very notable con when it comes to Bitcoin is that it has absolutely no assurance in terms of insurance. Insurance policies just don't exist here. So in this case, the Bitcoin economy was meant to cave in or subside. We cannot even expect a refund of the money we've invested. And there's nobody to blame either. Once you agree to the terms and conditions applied to investing in Bitcoin, it is clearly explained that there are no insurance policies, which makes it a pretty risky move. Another thing to take note of is the economic conditions today. They are as unpredictable as can be, which is why Bitcoin investments are made even more now, to make greater amounts of money from small investments. Plus, the access to buying Bitcoin is made so easy that almost anyone interested in the idea of making money the easy way can buy Bitcoin through various apps like Robinhood or PayPal. A lot of these investors are just rookies who don't take much caution before making such investments. Any experienced investor would know how important it is for us to have an idea of the ups and downs before buying into a company or investing in it. This is one of the prime reasons for Bitcoin's balloon to be inflated beyond its limits of capability. Now, going through Bitcoin's rises and falls may not promise us or predict what the future holds. Rather, it gives us a rough picture of what we may be getting ourselves into. This rough idea could help us in a lot of ways before making a decision we would not want to regret. One of the incidents where a notable burst of the Bitcoin bubble had taken place was back in the year 2017. Though not many people as today had been investing in Bitcoin in the early 2000s, the gradual inflation led to a burst in 2017, which did have an impact on the Bitcoin buyers and investors back then. It's almost impossible to predict when the Bitcoin market could reach its peak and eventually end up crashing again. But to add a scary touch to this whole process, there's something you should be warned about. All the crashes in the Bitcoin market that we had witnessed in the earlier years are not even a quarter of what is expected to happen this year. There are several studies that ask us to have faith in Bitcoin instead of fearing the possibilities of surges and falls. But here's the question: where is the evidence? There are so many major promises made in the Bitcoin industry that have tempted people to believe blindly that they're going to be making big money without considering the actual risks in the process. There is no solid evidence of Bitcoin crossing the $100,000 price range. All we are left with is speculations that something like this can be possible in the near future. That being said, we don't fully discourage users from buying Bitcoin. We're just shedding light on the issues about it that aren't emphasized enough. But then again, the advantages of Bitcoin are way too many as well. Bitcoin solves several currency issues, such as the overload of government-printed notes, and so on. It's perfect security that keeps mediators out of our transactions, gives fully self-directing freedom to the user, which are all very interesting pros to the economy. Bitcoin is also very easily accessible and cuts out a lot of other troubles. It provides total discretion to the user, which is something any investor would praise it for. Another characteristic of Bitcoin that draws attention is its considerably low amount of transaction fees when it comes to making international payments. This could prove useful to so many investors who make international transactions on a daily or a frequent basis. A few other things that Bitcoin cuts out would include banking fees. All of us know how troublesome banking fees can be at times. The fact that Bitcoin entirely eliminates banking fees is definitely a major pro. The interconnected nodes in the Bitcoin system that allow no middle people to interfere in the process is something that everyone would like to adapt to. These are some of the major reasons that lead the big companies today to buy into Bitcoin. Some of the companies that have invested into the Bitcoin economy include Elon Musk's Tesla, Microsoft, and even food-related companies like Pizza Hut and Subway. Several other companies as well have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into the Bitcoin industry. Bitcoin has been adopted as a reserve asset in a few multi-million-dollar companies as well. Grayscale has a Bitcoin trust fund, which is a notable pacesetter for the company. The company Square is another corporation that has adopted Bitcoin as a reserve asset, or as an external asset that can be readily used and controlled by the monetary authorities in order to meet the needs of several financial issues in the economy. Several larger investors have even spoken in favor of cryptocurrencies and believe it has revolutionized the financial industry and upped the game on so many levels. Now, with all these pros and cons put together, what should be the ultimate decision? Is Bitcoin worthy of investing our money into or not? It all boils down to this. It's a pretty big risk to invest in this industry, a risk that one must not ignore. Nevertheless, its profits could be in unimaginable numbers. To put it in simpler words, it's a decision that could cost you everything, or give you over triple-fold, or even 10 times and more of everything you put into it. So it wouldn't hurt to buy into a small portion, not too much of Bitcoin, as it has many advantages, more than disadvantages, and towards the end, the profit could make you a fair amount of money. And so, that was our take on the 2021 Bitcoin bubble. Did you find this video valuable, or do you want to add anything? Make sure to let us know in the comments section down below. We are posting a new video every day with the most undervalued stocks in the market right now.